Today, more than 85% of non-Christians characterize the American church as anti-homosexual, judgmental, and hypocritical. Guys, we have a problem. Hi guys, welcome to the very first ever Sanctified Punk book review. Today we're going to be talking about Godspeed by Britt Merrick. The subtitle of this book is Making Christ's Mission Your Own. And when you crack open this bad boy, be prepared for some truths that might make you a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you've been raised in church or have been a church goer for a very long time. I'm someone who naturally is very critical of church tradition and things that we do in church or in American culture that aren't necessarily in the Bible. And I was feeling hecka convicted by this entire book, so let's jump right in. The synopsis of this book is essentially, now that you're a Christian, so what? The call of the Christian is to go on mission with Christ. And he makes a point to distinguish the difference between missions, what we think of as like packing up your chacos and going and living in Uganda for a couple of days with your friends and then coming back, versus living on mission, a mission lifestyle with Christ. What if your entire life was mimicking the lifestyle that Jesus had in his own life? Basically continuing what Jesus did in Jerusalem thousands of years ago and bringing it into the modern world. According to this book, every single Christian has the responsibility to act like Jesus in their daily lives, around the people that they normally see, and in the communities that they grew up in. He calls this concept Missio Christi, which is Latin for something to the extent of mission with Christ, on mission with Christ. He sees it as you are not being sent out for Jesus, but you are sent out with Jesus. The work that Jesus did 2,000 years ago, you're just continuing, and Jesus is there right along with you. And the mission is more than just evangelism. Mission is what Jesus did in his hometown. Jesus healed people, Jesus cared for people, Jesus elevated people who were in oppressive situations. He cared for orphans and widows. He was radical in his kindness, his honesty, and his ability to stand up against injustice. The book is broken up into 3 parts, each representing a part of the Trinity, and describes one aspect of what mission with Christ looks like. I really like how in every single chapter, when he describes kind of an aspect of what mission with Christ looks like, or Missio Christi, he also gives an example from the Gospels and says, hey, look, here is this concept, here is this example in the Bible of Jesus doing this. He also throws in a lot of anecdotes from his personal life, which I find very charming. He's also someone who's not afraid to criticize himself, which I also think is a big part of being genuine and authentic. I'm much more likely to trust someone who can admit their faults and admit ways that they've been hypocritical themselves. It tells me that this guy is actually probably living out, or at least trying to live out, what he preaches, and so therefore I find him a pretty reputable source. He's kind of a surfer guy who was called to be a pastor in Santa Barbara, and I guess he has actually a lot of churches around California, including one not too far away from me, which is cool. This book could have a pretty wide audience. I would say it's definitely aimed at Christians, but I think it would also be a really interesting read for someone who is interested in Christianity, maybe dipping their toes in, but kind of freaked out by the idea of hypocrisy in the church, who didn't like maybe the churchiness, or felt like Christians didn't live out the things they believed. If you're someone who's very interested in Jesus, but kind of weirded out by what you've grown up with church, this book might be a very interesting read for you. As far as age and demographic, it's a very easy read. It's a little over 200 pages, but it's written in very plain, simple language. I think easily a young teenager could read it. However, it does get kind of deep like convicting. There's a lot of things I was reading and feeling like, ooh, I do that. But that's okay. We're about sanctification on this channel. That's why it's named what it is. We can start out as gross little rebellious punks, and because God is amazing, he can sanctify us and make us a little bit less sucky every day. One of the paragraphs that really captivated me in the first chapter was this one. In understanding the call of Christ, I look around and ask myself, where are all the radicals? Where are all the men and women who will forsake everything to go into the nations? Where are the men and women who will give up themselves to reach those who need Christ most, even in their own backyards? Where are the men and women who will put affluence and comfort upon the altar and instead choose to change the world with Jesus? Where are those people who will volunteer to die on a sword, hang upside down on a cross, or undergo persecution, beatings, and mocking? Where are those who will pour out their lives like a drink offering in order that others may be saved? The call of Christ is radical. Our response to Christ should be equally radical. Where are the radicals in the American church? I love this section because it kind of redefines what we think of a radical. A lot of times we hear the word radical and we think of someone who is very destructive, someone who is very judgmental, somebody who is standing up to people who are unlike them and maybe persecuting them with violence. But when we look at the life of Jesus, if someone radically followed Jesus, that would be amazing. That would be someone who is so selfless, so humble, that they would be willing to lower themselves to a servant's level and seek for peace, serve his friends, and heal and help the people that can literally do nothing for him in exchange. And we don't necessarily see that behavior from Christians today all the time. And here he's calling for us to actually put our money where our mouth is. If we say that we're Christians, which means little Christ, that means we should be little versions of exactly what Jesus did. And honestly, we don't necessarily see people doing that. We almost see like this ritualistic morality where people feel like they're Christians because they go to church on Sunday, they listen to some things, maybe they think about some stuff, they maybe hang a Bible verse picture in their house, and they probably have some like moralistic standard for themselves, like not swearing. Like maybe they don't listen to like the rap or the metal. Maybe their kids even go to a Christian school, but are they actually ministering to their communities? Are they actually like lowering, humbling themselves and helping the most oppressed? So guys, our world is kind of broken, if you haven't noticed. Christians should be on the front line, helping the oppressed, the broken, the downhearted. We should be shocking the world with how humble and compassionate we are. And sometimes we need kind of a reality check, because it's really easy to rage at a group and be like, why aren't Christians doing this? And that does nothing, right? If we get mad at a group of people or at society for not doing something, we're just mad. The way we actually make a difference is examining ourselves and going, shoot, I'm the hypocrite. And in reading this book, you kind of feel like, shoot, I'm the hypocrite, which I think is a good thing. Living life at Godspeed means you basically strap on your seatbelt and say, God, take me where you want me to go. I'm not afraid of being made fun of. I'm not afraid of putting my own comfort aside to help somebody else. I don't want money. I don't want fame. I don't even care if I live or not. I just want to be the same kind of person that Jesus was. And it's not about getting people to raise their hand in church. It's about being the light of the world. So what score should I give this book? I feel like I should score these at the end. 5 being average, like, it's good. 0 being, it doesn't really contribute anything. It's not very well organized and very fun to read. 10 being perfect. It's really hard not to give this a 10, but I feel like I will just give all my favorite books a 10. We're giving this guy a 9.5. Solid 9.5. An A, solid A. Because it's easy to read, it's convicting, it's biblically solid, and I feel like it's something that I could hand to almost anyone. Someone who's interested in checking out Christianity, like, hey, I like Jesus, but I'm not so sure about church. And I could also hand it to somebody who's like been in ministry for a super long time. Like, there's a lot of pastors who could read this bad boy and probably really benefit. If this sounds like it'd be your style, it probably would be. Go check it out. It's an easy read. You can find it on Amazon, I'm sure. Godspeed by Britt Merrick. It's great. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys. Go live life at Godspeed and act like Jesus. I'll see you next time.